Good morning, welcome back. I'm Sage and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney, and this is the Stocks in Action show. Let us now take a glimpse through the developments across the equity and commodity markets and subsequently the stocks under the spotlight today amid overall market volatility. Let us first start with the ASX 200 performance. Well, given the rollercoaster month amid the commodity and crypto volatility, sinusoidal equity market trends, inflation and rate hike expectations, and now virus woes, market players are closing an eye in the last ASX trade of the month. ASX 200 opened higher on the backdrop of a strong overnight session on Wall Street as gains made in the frontline technology shares propelled the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq composite to record highs. Around the mid-morning, the S&P ASX 200 was up, gaining 49.60 points or 0.68%. And the top performing stocks in this index are Iluka Resources up 9.28% and Nearmap up 4.38% respectively. And over the last 5 days, the index has gained 0.72% and is currently 0.75% off its 52-week high. 10 of 11 sectors are higher, along with the S&P ASX 200 index today. The telecommunication services is the best performing sector, gaining 2.67% and 2.27% for the past 5 days. And on that note, let us quickly glance through some global developments and its effect on the global market movements. And meanwhile, the global equity markets edged lower on Tuesday due to the rising cases of coronavirus in Asia. Investors also speculated whether the US Federal Reserve would extend its timetable to end its monetary policy, and fear over the highly contagious Delta variant of coronavirus is becoming a global worry and denting investors' sentiment, which had already been shaken by the Fed's hawkish tilt this month. Indonesia is witnessing record high cases while Malaysia has planned to extend its lockdown and Thailand has announced newer restrictions. In addition, Portugal and Spain are restricting travel for unvaccinated British travellers. Well, the investors would be watching the US jobs report for June 2021, which may determine the market momentum going forth. And according to a poll by Reuters, economists expect the addition of 690,000 jobs this month, up from 559,000 in May of 2021. And on this backdrop, the S&P 500 marked a record high for the fourth consecutive session overnight, supported by technology and banking shares. The rally was also buoyed by a government survey that revealed US consumer confidence in June of 2021 hit its highest since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones was up 0.03%, while the S&P 500 also gained 0.03%. The Nasdaq composite added 0.19%. Then the US Treasury yields remained in a range as the market participants waited to see how the US employment data for June 2021, due out on Friday, might affect the Fed's monetary policy stance. And the benchmark 10-year yield, which rose as high as 1.51% during Tuesday's session, last traded flat at 1.48%. And moving on down to the currency space, the US dollar rose to a 1-week high, registering its largest single-day gain in about 2 weeks, as surging cases of the new Delta variant of the coronavirus threatened to derail a global economic recovery. And meanwhile, the Australian and New Zealand dollars extended losses on Tuesday after the cautious investors cut down on risk amid concerns over the rising COVID-19 cases, leading to strengthening of the greenback. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates from the Australian market.
Hi, this is Andy Liu broadcasting from Kalkine Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new Kalkine Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health, and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to Kalkine TV and join me.
Welcome back. This is Sage, your host, live from the Kalkine studios, and you are watching the Stocks in Action show. In the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin has risen to the highest level since 19th June 2021, surging 4.8%. Other popular cryptos such as Dogecoin was up 3.5% and Ether was up 5.3%. Next we move to the commodities. On Tuesday, the gold prices fell to their lowest levels since mid-April 2021 as the US dollar gained ahead of this week's US jobs report, which is expected to add the new jobs and could cement the Fed's recent hawkish stance. The spot gold fell 0.93% by 1:39 p.m. Eastern Time after hitting its lowest since 15th April 2021, and the US gold futures were down 1%. The global commodities market also witnessed the iron ore futures falling, weighed down by the steel demand in China reverting to a lower level due to threats of intervention by the Chinese government seeking to put a leash on high prices. And the most active September futures contract for iron ore on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange closed 2.7% lower after the 4 straight sessions of gains. Copper prices also fell for the 4th consecutive session on Tuesday on the back of the strengthened US dollar. In addition, the plentiful supply of industrial metal also weighed down on its price. And lastly, on the global development, crude oil prices steadied on Tuesday on expectations of demand recovery and rising cases of new coronavirus variants. September delivery crude oil futures traded 0.04%, whereas the August delivery WTI crude oil futures traded 0.75% up as of 30th June 2021 at 10:19 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And the crude oil demand in 2021 was anticipated to grow by 6 million barrels per day, with more than 83% attributed to the second half of the year. OPEC's demand forecast shows that the supply is expected to fall short of demand by 2.2 thousand barrels per day, providing room for producers to add output. However, the prices have been weighted due to the travel restrictions imposed due to the new outbreak of the Delta variant of coronavirus, and Spain and Portugal imposed new restrictions on the non-vaccinated Britons. At the same time, Australia also faced tighter curbs amid the fast-spreading viruses across the country. And on that note, let's now take a look at a few recent updates from the ASX-listed companies. Starting with the first news, shares of the Australian clinical stage drug development company Noxopharm Limited slid in the morning after it shared that the European Patent Office has issued a formal notice of allowing claims for the company's patent application, indicating an intention to move the patent grant. It should be noted that Vayonda is the company's first pipeline drug candidate, currently in phase 2 clinical trial. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates for the Australian market. Crypto talk by Kalkine. The crypto market has been red hot given the Bitcoin rally since the past year. And now the most famous cryptocurrency has got competitors: Dogecoin and Ethereum. If the crypto market excites you, tune in with me, Sage, to know the latest developments about the existing digital currencies and the new ones that are joining the race. I'll help you understand the opportunities and the risks the crypto market has in store for you. For all the digital currency related developments, continue watching Crypto Talk by Kalkine. Welcome back. This is Sage, your host from Kalkine Studio, and you are watching the Stocks in Action show. We are discussing trends in the ASX-listed shares that are in the news today because of their price-sensitive announcements. Let us now take a look at the next news update. Shares of Australian technology company Kalkine Limited were up today after it announced it has awarded the maximum $1 million grant under the Australian Government's Manufacturing Modernisation Fund to develop and transform its biotech manufacturing capability of its Bacchus facility in Victoria. And the next news covers the utility company AGL Energy Limited. Shares of AGL Energy were trading in the red after confirmed today its intentions to go for a demerger. The board of AGL Energy believes it will be in the best interests of protecting shareholders' value plus providing greater strategic focus to AGL. The company will become Excel Energy Limited, focusing on the redevelopment of its sites as low-carbon industrial energy hubs and a baseload power producer. Excel Energy shall then demerge AGL Australia Limited, the multi-product energy retailer. Excel Energy, as reported, will retain 15 to 20% of the shareholding in AGL Australia. The demerger is anticipated to be completed in the fourth quarter of financial year 22. Subject to relevant approvals, and AGL Energy will terminate its special dividend program for the remaining financial year 21 and upcoming financial year 2022. It is also going to underwrite the dividend reinvestment plan on the ordinary dividends until the demerger. AGL Energy confirmed that the financial year 21 earnings guidance was in the previously provided range, and for financial year 22 the company anticipates a material step down in earnings. And now it's time for another short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more of the trending updates for the Australian market.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With Kalkine TV.
Welcome back. This is Sage, your host, live from Kalkine Studios, and you are watching the Stocks in Action show, and we're discussing the trending ASX-listed shares that are in the news today because of their price-sensitive announcements. So next, moving on to the energy space. Shares of diversified financial company Strategic Elements Limited was up after it announced reaching a crucial development for the company, enabling the company to power Bluetooth sensor device with moisture, and its moisture-powered battery can successfully power an Internet of Things device outfitted with both temperature and humidity sensors and onboard Bluetooth communication. Significantly, for the first time, battery ink cells were integrated with a commercial supercapacitor, and this is a significant advancement as higher performance applications require a supercapacitor battery for greater energy storage. The next news covers Australia's technology, AML3D Limited, trading in the green, and it posted that it has received a purchase contract from the Boeing company for 3D printing a tooling component. Boeing is a global aerospace leader and top US exporter, and AML3D has received a purchase contract from Boeing to supply an Invar 361 mandrel tool artefact using its proprietary wire additive manufacturing process. And although the part being manufactured is of a value below 50,000 Australian dollars, it has high significance for AML3D. Thanks for watching on that report, and that is all for now. Please stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more live market updates, and we will be back with more news on the markets, the economy, and diverse themes and sectors. And Sage signing off for now.